The second strategy for dividing fractions will be using a number line. And if you are just writing this on your flip book without printing out the notes, our first example will be on the top flap, and our second and third examples will be on the bottom flap. So the first thing we have is we've got 1/2 divided by 2/5. So we're going to just take this one step at a time. Our first step says if the denominators are different, which they are, we're going to multiply them together to get our partition amount. So 2 times 5 equals 10. So 10 is our partition amount. And that's what we're going to use to make our number line. So starting at 0, we're going to make each partition a tenth. So 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10. I'm just going to take it to 1. Okay, and just like we were doing when we were adding fractions using the number line, we're going to have to label our equivalent fractions. So looking at this, 2/10 I know has an equivalent fraction of 1/5. Then we have 4/10 is going to be 2/5. 5/10 can reduce to 1/2. 6/10 can be reduced to 3/5. 8/10 is going to be 4/5. And 10/10 is 1. So now that we have our number line partitioned and our equivalent fractions, step 3 says we need to mark the number line to show the first fraction. So I'm just going to mark my number line. I'm going to do it in green. My first fraction is this 1/2. So 1/2 on my number line is right here at 5/10. So I have marked, maybe let's just do it. I have marked my first fraction right here at 5/10. So that is step 3. Now step 4 says use the equivalent fractions to figure out how many spaces are going to be in each jump. So the way we do that is we're going to look at our second fraction. Our second fraction is 2/5. So what we want to know is how many jumps does it take to get to 2/5? So I'm going to just make our lines. 2/5 is right here. So it's 1, 2, 3, it's 4 jumps to get to my 2/5. So each jump is 4 spaces. So my question is, how many jumps of 4 spaces can I make before I hit my green box? So we've got our first jump. We've got our jump right here. That's 1. I can't make another 4-space jump before I hit my green mark. So my answer is I can make 1 4-space jump. And then I have 1 space left over. So 1 space left over of my 4-space jump. And that's my answer. So now let's go ahead and do another example. This time I have 2/3 divided by 1/4. So I'm going to first multiply my denominators. 3 times 4 equals 12. So my partition amount is going to be 12. So I got 0, 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, all the way to 12/12. And now I need to write in my equivalent fractions. So now that I've marked all of my equivalent fractions, my next step is to mark my first fraction on the number line. So 2/3 is right here. So I'm going to mark that because that's as far as I have to go on my number line. And then I'm going to use my second fraction to decide how many spaces per each jump. So my second fraction is 1/4, which is right here. And that's 3 spaces. So I know that there's 3 spaces to each jump. So my question is, how many 3-space jumps can I make before I hit my green mark? So let's just look at it. We got 1, 2, 3. There's my first 3-space jump. Then 1, 2, 3. There's my second 3-space jump. And I can't make a third 3-space jump. So my answer is going to be 2 full jumps. And then I've got 2 of my 3-space jumps that I can still make. So my answer is 2 2/3. Okay, and for our last one, I want to have you pause it and see how far you can get, and then start it up and see how you did. Okay, so I went ahead and found my partition amount at 12 and numbered my number line partitions and my equivalent fractions, and I marked my first fraction on the number line at 1/3. So then I'm going to use my second fraction, which is 3/4, to determine how big a jump should be. So when I come here and I look at 3/4, that tells me that one single jump should be 9 spaces. Can I even make a single jump before I hit my green mark? The answer to that is no. So no full jumps. So 0 is my whole number. Out of my 9 spaces, how many could I make? My first jump, I can go 4 of the 9 spaces before I hit my green mark. So my answer is 4/9.